am delighted to see you again, Topher. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mark. Well as well can be these days.
Well, we're getting weller. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Well on our way to wellness.
That's that's pretty good. Weller on our way to wellness. That's pretty good. Yeah, we are, and you guys got to keep the faith, right? And what I usually say, they bug me that I say it all the time: trust the process, and trust being the key word as per our conversation.
That's it, man.
So I trust that you, the family, are well.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing okay. Our youngest went back to in-person school a couple weeks ago. The middle one did so last week, and the third one's next week. So in a series of dominoes, we'll have an empty house once again. I think it's Thursday next week is when all these hybrid learning schedules sync up.
And in a weird way, you're going to miss them.
Fine. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, my aunt, who's almost 93 now, used to tell me before, enjoy stop me if I tell you this, enjoy the messes, the arguments, the being late, the stress, the this, that, and the other, because when it's not there, you're going to miss it.
Oh, man. I think the dishwasher is going to miss it the most. And the laundry machine.
Yeah. Well, I did an interview recently, and then we'll get to this with a couple I know that pretty successful, and they sold their home and house and whatever, and they have a dog named Nash, who's a service dog, and they're doing a 15-city tour to raise awareness of service dogs right now. And because there's mental health issues with the people they served in hospitals and places like that, or even the people that they're with being able to go out as much. But there's also mental health issues that the service dogs are having. They know in their own way that they're not fulfilling their purpose fully.
Oh, wow. Does that mean you can interview a service dog on Leaders Who Care coming up pretty soon?
No, Sean and Christine and Nash were interviewed. Absolutely.
I love it. That's great.
and we're kind of following them, but never would have thought of it, but it really makes sense. The dogs are feeling it in their own way.
That's it. No, I think, I can't remember where I saw this, but it was some observation that human beings are the only creatures on this planet born without knowing their purpose, that we have to figure it out as we journey through this world, and that a blade of grass knows its purpose, a dog knows it. Every other of nature's creatures is innately infused with that coming into this world, and yet we are not. So thank you, Mark, for allowing us to figure that out and providing a container to do so.
That's absolutely fascinating. It's interesting because someone told me the other day, we're the only living creatures that can actually relive in our minds the memories and be with people that are no longer with us anymore.
Wow. I got one more for you. Ready? This is a Carl Sagan quote. As far as we understand, we are the only creatures in the universe that allow the universe to understand itself.
Damn.
Mic dropped.
Exactly. You got me there, man. That's brilliant. Yeah. That's I love that type of stuff. And I love expressions also where you don't know where they came from and you look them up and it's like, wow, really? So this is a revisit. This is one of my more fun revisits, actually. This is cool. And
great.
Update us. Tell us what you've been up to. Tell us how you moved out of 2020 and what's happening in 2021.
Yeah, sure. But well, so it was, early September when I think you and I last connected on this platform.
Man.
Yeah, it seems like an eon ago. A geologic epic, perhaps. So I think at that point, to be honest, I was fresh on the heels of furloughing myself from our business because our business was solely reliant on a global in-person event and the revenue therein from registration fees for that event. So I think I was, scratching in my head and wondering what was next for me. Is there another professional path ahead? And at that point, right at that point, my wife and I, because she and I have been the mom and pop shop and the husband and wife team behind Opportunity Collaboration this whole entire time, realized that at least one of us had to go out and find some stable income to make sure that we feed these incredibly hungry boys of ours. So I'm delighted to share that Jorian Wilkins, my better half, secured a position. She's running what's called the Downtown Association here in Santa Cruz, California, which is about 500 local businesses. Her job is to advocate on their behalf, provide different layers of support and capacity for them, create a sense of community for them, and in essence, ensure that there's a vibrant downtown business ecosystem here in beautiful Santa Cruz. So she took on that role.
That's awesome. By the way, just to interrupt, in these times, that is such an awesome role because of what's happened to small business.
Yes, and she's crushing it. I mean, I say that not as her husband.
I'm sure she is. We've seen
She's
her.
doing an incredible job. Yeah. So that's been immensely important, not only because provided a little bit of financial stability for us, but we've lived here in Santa Cruz for about 10 years, and for that entire time, our work has largely been baked around opportunity collaboration, curating this global network.
Mhm.
And yet, Santa Cruz has rampant homelessness. Santa Cruz has challenges with climate change. Santa Cruz needs more. It needs more convening power around social change, just like a lot of places in this world do. So we've been able to now step into the fact that with Jordan's new role, we're able to have this impact on literally in our own backyard. We live a couple blocks from the downtown corridor. So that's been a really wonderful evolution since you and I last spoke. And
So,
then,
so hang on. So you guys
yeah,
are the epitome of go global, act local.
yeah, there it is. Yeah, we yes, yes.
Awesome.
So with that turn of events, that allowed me to sort of take the foot off the gas in terms of like, oh God, I got to find some new job or whatever it is, and provided me the space and time to ensure that the opportunity collaboration community could stay connected, and I launched what's called OC 365 back in January earlier this year, which is in essence a series of monthly touch points. It started in January, will go through this September. We've got about 250 people in the cohort who are connecting on these monthly touch points. In true OC tradition, it's an incredible array of leaders from all around the globe, nonprofit leaders, for-profit entrepreneurs, folks from the philanthropic community, impact investors, a few from the corporate side, a cohort of academics. I mean, on and on and on and on. And we have this monthly touch point as a way to anchor the conversation and be in community with one another. The 3 hours that we're together are as best as we can emblematic of the unconference convening methodology that we always deployed for OC. Yep. So no Zoom webinars at all. Always meeting in small groups, having open conversations. We're experimenting with different tech platforms to facilitate collaboration and true relationship building. So it's been really exciting, Mark, to see the OC community sort of live and breathe again in this online realm. I gotta say, I'm eating a pretty big slice of humble pie right now, because for years folks have been asking me to take OC into the virtual realm and create online touch points between the major annual in-person events every year, and I've always been like, I don't know. It's all about like the in-person pheromonal exchange and online schmonline type of reaction.
Use a technical term.
Exactly. Well, here we are, 3-4 months in, and I'm incredibly surprised at how effective it can be to actually bring folks together if you do it creatively beyond the talking head Zoom webinar format. So I'm convinced at this point that this is going to be something that's going to live on in perpetuity and hopefully be highly symbiotic with the return of our large global in-person event, which we will hopefully be announcing dates for soon, end of September 2022. Be there, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I think things happen for a reason, or if they don't, things should happen because of them for a reason. And so because people miss so much the personal contact, we tried harder to make the tech contact work because we really needed it. And so that I believe that's part of it, because we
That's
did
it.
have
Yeah.
Skype and this and that before. That wasn't necessarily
But we
new.
never really needed it as much as we did now. Yeah.
Yeah, need, I think,
Yeah.
is the thing. We literally needed it. We
Yeah.
needed that virtual hug. We needed that, all that stuff. It
Yeah.
and it because we were so much loving the personal contact, and when you're missing something, you want it even more. So great job on
Mm,
doing that, and
thank you,
bringing
man.
people together.
Yeah.
It's so needed, as we talked a little bit before. It's so needed, that we, not to use a cliche, but that we do come together, because there's so many issues and opportunities that are in front of us,
That's right.
that we either get too tired to do, or we say, look, this is an opportunity. Let's make some stuff happen. So I'm sure
Yeah.
some of those conversations are happening right now in the OC 365.
No, it is. It is. And it's interesting. Like, so on the one hand, this global pandemic has probably set us back by several decades when it comes to the work that we're all involved in the OC when it comes to solutions to poverty. I mean, there's data from the World Bank that says, you know, millions more people will be living in extreme poverty as a result of this pandemic. So the need is there from a mission standpoint, as well as the need is there from just a human connectivity standpoint.
Yeah.
Um, and what I've realized is that, even though a lot of us are still in various states of trauma as a result of this global pandemic, that the human spirit of giving, of being of service, of constantly asking ourselves that this question of like, how can we help each other, is still there. No matter how much our own cup needs to be filled, there's still overflow.
Yeah, there is no doubt, because that's what fills our hearts and souls more than anything.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you got food, you got air, you need that and whatnot. I think another thing you kind of brought up there that's super important. I mean, I'm in the human capital business to a great degree,
Mm.
and the untapped the untapped human capital, um, is extraordinary, because if you're in survival mode, there's no time to be creative. There's no time to do anything except survive. And the insides of someone like that are being torn apart, because they're surviving, and because they kind of know that they got more to offer,
That's right.
and they can't do it. In fact, I just saw this great movie called Fisherman's Diary,
Huh.
and
I'll
it's
check it out.
kind of a true story, kind of Malala type of inspired, etc. But this African young lady who isn't allowed to go to school, and this and that, and what happens. I highly recommend it. But the fact that of what you do at OC is bring people together to tap that human capital
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
is so needed, and I'm super excited that you're doing it.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I've my cup has certainly been filled as a result of doing it. I feel much more um, whole as a person as a result of doing this. Yeah.
And now the kids are going to school, right?
Ah, yes, it's
So we're
true.
tapping that human capital now.
Exactly, the human capital of all of our teachers out there.
So talk a little bit about that. I like to get that perspective too in our last few minutes. How are they feeling about it?
Yeah, it's been interesting. So, um, I think there's all of us can attest to the fact that there's a craving for in-person socialization, and I think each one of so I have these three boys. They're 14, 12, and 10. Each one of them have various social circles, various friends um, that they are accustomed to interacting with, and so enabling that again is really important. I mean, I can see the lightness in their moods, in their minds as they come back from spending time with their peers for 5 to 6 hours again. And at the same time, um, I'm also aware of the silver lining of the fact that the three of them uh, were essentially forced to rely on each other the
Mhm.
last year for that social outlet. Like, just witnessing the strengthening of their brotherhood has been really incredible.
Yeah.
And that's that comes with its with its setbacks every now and then. It comes with moments of tension and conflict that then are resolved, and that's what leads to strengthening the relationship at the end of the day. But man, I mean, while I'm happy for them to go back to seeing their friends again, I really hope that the progress that they made in deepening their relationships maintains going forward.
Yeah, I think the things happen for a reason type of thing again.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I think a lot of families are feeling that. Obviously, there's stress, there's this, that, there's everything else. But I don't think families have ever been together that much, ever, maybe. And everything in moderation. You can't eat too much pizza, even though I love pizza.
yeah. I had 2 slices last night.
um, but yeah, I think it's a bond that's they're going to feel for a long time,
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
basically, which is
Well,
which.
and an experience to lean on. I mean, this will never be forgotten, right? I mean, this is one of those years that we'll all forever remember.
Yeah, and I even have some people saying, believe it or not, sure they like to get out of COVID now, but they're kind of going to miss some of that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Where the kids have to be at home, so you can't have to make the decision if they're sleeping over at so and so's house. No, you're here, and that's it. And what about you and Jorian? What are your feelings?
Oh, we're doing good. I mean, as I shared, last September was probably the peak of our trauma, as we were navigating the impacts for our business and what does it mean for us professionally, and like I said, how are we going to keep food on the table for this family? So we're in a much better mental state now, Mark, than we were back then. That's for sure. And I think what we're also feeling into is this new dynamic where we're not working together on the same project necessarily all the time.
Hmm.
Like, it's been 10 years where she and I have been hip to hip as the dynamic duo behind OC.
Right.
So feeling into what does it mean to bifurcate a little bit, to have a little bit more of our own sort of niche in the world has been really interesting. And I think as much as we love each other and as much as we love spending all the time together, it's been healthy to each find our own separate path a little bit recently. And in the professional realm, we're obviously very happy as a married couple.
No, certainly, but you're right. It does impact, and I think I think people have gotten a little more humble
Yeah,
because you had to think about not necessarily survival in the same mode as somebody really, really surviving,
yeah.
but still survival. And at the same time, it brings different conversation and experiences to the table to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I
and I
think,
and I and I've it's like, as she's been doing this work, she draws me in. She's like, Topher, I've got a big board meeting coming up. I need to do a cool like icebreaker exercise and then figure out how to come to some consensus around this working out. Well, and I'm like, well, from my expertise as a convener. So it's been really cool.
um, no, I think it's fantastic. And I also think it's fantastic that the point you brought up about global is local,
Yes,
basically.
yes,
It just is. It's a bunch of locals that make up a global,
yeah.
and so we should remember that all the time. So congrats on to tell Jordan, congrats to you both on the kids
Yeah.
having some spare time and stuff, and keeping the big OC going. So we're
Thank you,
appreciative
Mark.
of that, and thanks for revisiting.
It's been my pleasure, Mark, and congrats to you of helping folks, talk about their purpose and keep the candle lit throughout all this darkness. It's really amazing that you're doing this.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it. We'll see you
yeah.
soon.
All right, bud. Cheers.